Once upon a time, in a desert that seemed to stretch endlessly under a golden sun, there was a land like no other. It wasn't just any desert, it was the Shimmering Desert, named for the way its sand sparkled as if sprinkled with tiny diamonds. Every sunset, the dunes would glow in hues of orange and pink, and on moonlit nights, the desert floor would shimmer so brightly that travelers often thought they were walking through a sea of stars. But the most curious thing about the Shimmering Desert wasn't its glowing sands, it was the crystal cacti. Scattered across the dunes, these tall, gleaming plants stood like silent sentinels, their spiny arms glinting in the light. At night, they glowed softly, casting a magical luminescence that lit up the desert. Nobody knew why they glowed, and the mystery only deepened when travelers began telling tales of faint whispers coming from the cacti, as if they were trying to speak. One summer evening, 3 friends, Lila, Mateo, and Zayn, stood on the edge of the desert, gazing at the horizon where the first stars were beginning to twinkle. They had grown up hearing stories of the crystal cacti and the secrets they supposedly held, but nobody had ever dared to venture deep enough into the desert to find out. Tonight, that was about to change. "We're really going to do this, aren't we?" Lila asked, her curly hair catching the last rays of the setting sun. She clutched her satchel, which was filled with water bottles, a compass, and a notebook for sketches. Mateo adjusted his wide-brimmed hat and grinned. "Of course, we are. We've talked about it for years. The crystal cacti are waiting, and so is the treasure." Zayn, always the most cautious of the group, shifted nervously. "But what if the stories are true? What if the whispers mean something dangerous?" "Then we'll figure it out together," Lila said firmly. "Come on, Zayn. We're not turning back now." With that, the trio stepped onto the shimmering sands, their footsteps leaving soft impressions that sparkled in the fading light. The air was warm and still, and as they walked, the first cacti began to appear, glowing faintly in the deepening twilight. As they approached one of the crystal cacti, they noticed something peculiar. Its glow pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. Lila reached out to touch it, and the moment her fingers brushed its cool surface, a soft, melodic hum filled the air. "Did you hear that?" Mateo whispered, his eyes wide. Lila nodded, her heart pounding. "It's humming." Zayn leaned closer, his skepticism fading. "It's like it's alive." Before they could say more, the hum grew louder, and a faint voice echoed through the air, seeming to come from the cactus itself. "Seek the heart of the desert, where the sands meet the stars." The friends froze, their breaths caught in their throats. Did that cactus just talk?" Mateo finally managed to say. "It must be part of the mystery," Lila said, her eyes shining with excitement. "The heart of the desert, what do you think it means?" "Only one way to find out," Zayn said, surprising even himself with his newfound determination. "Let's keep going." As they journeyed deeper into the desert, the crystal cacti became more numerous, their hums blending into a soft, otherworldly symphony. The air grew cooler, and the stars above seemed to burn brighter, as if cheering them on. The trio's path was soon interrupted by a massive sand dune that towered before them like a golden wave. At its base, they found a cluster of cacti arranged in a perfect circle. In the center of the circle lay a glowing stone, its surface etched with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and change as they looked at it. "This has to be a clue," Lila said, kneeling beside the stone. She traced the patterns with her fingers, and suddenly, the stone began to glow more brightly. A deep voice rumbled from the cacti, shaking the ground beneath their feet. "To reach the heart, you must prove your worth. Answer the question, or the sands will swallow you." Mateo gulped. "No pressure." The voice continued. "I am as old as the desert, yet I am born anew each day." "What am I?" The friends exchanged nervous glances. Zayn paced in a circle, kicking up small clouds of glittering sand. "Born anew each day, something in the desert, the sun." Lila exclaimed. It's the sun. The glowstone pulsed, and the voice spoke again. You have answered wisely. Follow the path of light. Before their eyes, the cacti began to glow in a sequence, forming a trail that led over the sand dune and into the distance. Looks like we're on the right track, Mateo said, his excitement returning. They followed the glowing trail, which led them to a strange, flat expanse of desert where the sand sparkled like crushed diamonds. In the center of the expanse stood a single cactus, taller and more radiant than any they had seen before. Its glow was almost blinding, and as they approached, they noticed that its spines formed a spiral pattern, leading to a hollow at its center. The heart of the desert, Zayn whispered. The cactus began to hum, and the spiral of its spine started to spin slowly, creating a vortex of light. The friends shielded their eyes as the light grew brighter, and when it finally dimmed, they found themselves standing before a shimmering doorway made of pure crystal. Without hesitation, they stepped through the doorway and into a cavern filled with glowing cacti of every shape and size. The walls sparkled with embedded gemstones, and the air was filled with a soothing hum that seemed to vibrate in their very bones. In the center of the cavern sat a pedestal, and atop it rested a golden orb, its surface swirling with light. The orb seemed to pulse with energy, and as the friends approached, they felt a warmth radiating from it. This must be the treasure, Lila said, her voice barely above a whisper. As she reached out to touch the orb, the cavern filled with a deep, resonant voice. You have found the heart of the desert, but your journey is not yet complete. To claim the treasure, you must make a choice. The friends looked at each other, puzzled. What kind of choice? Mateo asked. The orb holds the power to grant a single wish, the voice explained. But beware, its power must be used selflessly, or the desert will reclaim its gift. The trio fell silent, each of them pondering what to wish for. Finally, Lila spoke. We should wish to protect the Shimmering Desert, so its beauty and magic can be preserved for everyone. Mateo and Zayn nodded in agreement. Together, they placed their hands on the orb and made their wish. The orb glowed brightly, and a wave of light spread through the cavern, illuminating every corner. The cacti hummed in harmony, their glow intensifying until the entire cavern shone like a second sun.